Greetings, Benjamin J. from BENZTRAINZ with another in the series. Well, this is that Lionel 1120. I picked this up a couple weeks ago for 20 bucks. And it didn't have a headlight. And so I did some research on it, and it never had a headlight. These weren't made with headlights. It has a standard Lionel motor in it, and the motor has a light socket on it. So I dismantled it, put a light bulb in it, and it did not work. And so I started looking at the light socket itself, and the socket has the power lead, but it has no ground connection. And so it was never intended to have a light in it. So in any case, I wired it with a separate wire for the ground and put a 12-volt bulb in it, and to my surprise, it actually takes a 6-volt bulb. A 12-volt bulb was really, really dim. So I went up to an auto parts store and picked up a 6-volt automotive bulb, put it in, and it works absolutely perfectly. So I just wanted to take this around so you can see the 1120 running with a headlight. So let me turn the power on. And I just opened up the hole in the front. I had an old 999 lens, as you see. So I just tapped it into the hole, instant headlight. And like I said, the 1120 was never made with a light, so it was interesting to put this in there. Anyway, let's take it around, pulling 20 cars. So it's really neat to see it with a headlight. And it works rather well. Now it's interesting that it takes a 6-volt bulb, which means they had to put a resistor in the motor. I just don't know why they would do that. Marx uses standard 12-volt bulbs. But I am far from an expert on Lionel. It just seemed really redundant to use a 6-volt light bulb on a standard 12-volt motor. Basically, any 12-volt light bulb will work on these engines. So anyway, had that old 999 lens, which is just basically a piece of tapered plastic. And I just tapped, I opened this hole up and then just tapped into the hole, and instant headlight on the 1120. It works. So I was going to do a video on it, but it's so difficult to do an in-depth video with a camera on a tripod. It's just, it gets in the way and you really can't do anything practical. The camera is always in the way. So I'll have to come up with some way to actually video this when I'm doing an in-depth repair or modification. But it works. That's the neat thing about it. It has a headlight where it did not before. And as I said, the 1120 was never made with a headlight. So it took a bit of figuring how to do this. So anyway, it had the socket, but the socket was wired for power, but it was not wired for ground. So I just put a 6-volt bulb in the socket and then ran a separate wire to the bulb itself to ground it, and instant light. So I might look around and find a better lens, but for now this is good enough. It works, it's good and bright, and the nice thing about it, of course, is it never had a headlight. But it does now. Works quite well. And I just used a 6-volt automotive bulb. So I just wanted to do a quick video on this. So the 1120, you can light it, but you have to use a 6-volt bulb, and you'll have to run a separate ground wire to the bulb itself. There's a socket that is hot, but it did not provide a ground on the outside of the bulb, which I thought was strange. And again, I have no idea why they would use a 6-volt bulb, and yet they did. So I just wanted to do a quick video on this. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, BENZTRAINZ@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.